Are you thinking about selling your house this summer? Please wait, watch this video first. Today I'm going to be sharing with you 10 different things that are complete turnoffs for potential buyers. Hey everyone, if you're new to this channel, my name is David Justice. I'm a licensed realtor in the state of New Jersey. I created this channel to give my viewers an insider into real estate, the real estate industry, and also record my journey as a real estate agent. Today in this video, I'm going to be going over 10 different things that are complete turnoffs for potential buyers for your home this summer. Quick disclaimer, these are not in any particular order. These are just a few items that I hear on a daily with the buyers that I work with. A lot of these are things that may either make a buyer question putting an offer in a home, or they may just flat out decide to move to the next one. If any of these sound like your home, talk to your realtor to figure out different ways to get around these different obstacles. Number one is unpleasant smells. Nobody wants to walk in a house and get immediately smacked with cigarette smell or with super pissy carpet, or like the house smells like it's 300 years old and mildewy, so when you're selling your house, keep these in mind. If you can, try to clean the carpets, wipe down the walls, get rid of any old furniture, but you might have to end up ripping out that carpet and replacing it, or having somebody properly wipe down and clean the property to make it smell new again. Number two, leaks. Nobody likes going to a showing on a rainy day and seeing water come down the side of the wall, a little like a sagging in the ceiling, and it's really wet. Nobody likes going to an inspection and the inspector's saying that the moisture sensor that they have is going off. Nobody wants to go underneath the sink and see that it's dripping. These are huge deals for buyers because this is going to be a big investment for them. And they don't want to find out that the roof is super bad and they're going to have to replace this expensive roof, or that they're going to move in the house and all of a sudden the plumbing's messed up, or the basement has a bunch of leaks in it after a big rain. So keep that in mind. If you know you have leaks, please decide to disclose them, and then also figure out maybe address them beforehand or how you're going to address them in the future. Number three, foundation issues. Nobody wants to go in our house and the living room it's leaning in a little bit, or the house itself feels like it's leaning to the left a little bit. Nobody wants to find out that the framing and the beams holding the house are severely damaged and that they're going to have to replace all that. Those get into really expensive costs that no buyer wants to deal with. If you know any of these issues, please again make sure that you disclose them when selling your house. Number four, cesspools. Cesspools are a form of private sewage. A lot of you that live maybe in the city or closer to the city have public sewage and public water, but a lot of you that have more land or a little bit farther out from the city or have an older house probably have heard of the term cesspool and septic tanks. The biggest difference in what they are, they're pretty much underground tanks that control and store waste. Cesspools are usually not legal anymore in certain states, so when you sell your house, you would probably have to convert them to a septic tank. You definitely want to notify a buyer if you know you have a cesspool. The biggest difference between a cesspool and a septic tank is that the septic tank has the ability to be filtered. They have these leach fields that filters the wastewater, versus a cesspool, they're just sitting there and they have to be emptied out regularly. If they overflow into the field, if they crack, if they have any damage or malfunction, they could potentially severely contaminate the soil surrounding the underground tank. So they are huge no-nos when you're selling your property, and most people don't want to deal with them. If they do, they definitely want to know beforehand. Number five, underground oil tanks. Most newer homes are already going to be equipped with natural gas furnaces or some more modern day form of heating. But a lot of older houses are going to have oil tanks. This is not a big deal breaker if they're in good condition. But a lot of houses back in the day, what the homeowners did was bury the oil tanks when they converted to natural gas. Or they still have them, but they're not in good condition. If this oil, underground oil tank starts leaking into the field, it's going to be a huge environmental condition, and the oil can contaminate the soil surrounding it. This is a huge expense, and this can cost, anywhere from $20,000 all the way up to $60,000, $70,000. That's going to be a huge issue for the next buyer. So if you have an oil tank, it might be good to just verify the condition of it. If you know that it's an underground oil tank, maybe disclose that you do have one. If you know where it is, say where it is. Buyers are probably, if they find out that there's going to be an underground oil tank, I always advise them to maybe pay and hire someone to scan for the oil tank and also test the soil. Number 6 is going to be uncertain or sketchy areas. Whether we're talking about in the middle of nowhere, there's nobody around, or we're talking a very urban area, a neighborhood has a big effect on the buyer. They want to feel confident in where they're going to live and where their house is. So even though your house is awesome, it's great, everything's brand new everything, and they love the inside, when they step out the house, how do they feel? When they pull up to the house, how do they feel? If there's a lot of boarded up houses right next door, or shady characters standing out front your door, when we're doing a showing, that might be a huge turnoff for a potential buyer. On the same other opposite side of this, if you're in the middle of nowhere, somebody might really love the house, but they're not certain if they feel safe, if anybody's going to be there, how far a gas station is. So the surrounding area is a huge deal when we're talking about selling a home. You can't necessarily control the location, but just keep this in mind when you're selling a house. It probably will come up. Number 7, parking. This is a really big one, but it's going to come down to the buyer's personal opinion. A lot of buyers they have to have some type of off-street parking, whether that be a driveway, a gravel road, a garage, a double garage attached, or whatever, a carport. A lot of buyers want this. If you don't, it's not necessarily a deal breaker. It just may limit how many buyers you have, because someone may have a bigger family, may have more than one car. They might like to work on cars. And I have seen this a lot where people do not end up buying a house because of the parking situation. Again, maybe if you live in the city or urban area and they know they're going to park on the street, but when they pull up, they can't find any parking if they park all the way down the street. Or if you live in a neighborhood at HOA, you have assigned parking and you only have one parking spot, that could be a huge deal breaker too. So just keeping in mind, parking is probably going to come up. Number 8, HVAC systems and water heaters that are beyond their life of service. Typically, a water heater is good for 6 to 12 years, depending on the type of water heater and brand that you get. So if we start hitting beyond that, it's pretty likely that it's going to go bad or start having issues. On the same note, we also have your HVAC system, which is like your heating and cooling systems. That will include, the furnace, that will include the venting going through the house, and the conditioner outside. Now, typically these are good for 15 to 25 years. So if we're going beyond that, maybe this home is built in 1975 and the HVAC has never been updated and it's 2022, this can be a huge turnoff for somebody because they know that they gotta anticipate potentially replacing the whole system. Number 9, a ridiculous listing price. I know a lot of you sellers are not gonna hear this, but even though we're in a seller's market and you can get a little bit more for your money and there's a bunch of buyers, there is still a reasonable number for your home. There is a cap or a max on how much that house is going to sell for. And I've dealt with a lot of sellers that, they just put a number in their head because that's what they want to get, or that's how much money they want to make. And that's not quite how it works. There's something called a market value, and that's what any person at any given time at their own will is willing to pay for that house. And if you go, months without getting offers, it's more than likely, or really low offers, it's more likely that you're really overpriced. I've worked with a lot of buyers, and a lot of them, what they'll do is they'll just give me a number. This is the max. And if every house in this neighborhood sells for $200,000 and your house is at $270,000, that might be a huge turnoff. People might not even come see your house because it's just so overpriced, and you're all the way over here and they're all the way over here. So definitely sit down with your realtor. If you really want to dig into it, you can hire a private appraiser to see what they think the value of the home is, but really dig deep on finding out what is the probable market value of your home. Number 10, and probably the one that I think is the most important, is the condition of the home and the vibe and the aura of the home. What I mean by this is that a turnoff is not always that a house is outdated, but a turnoff will be if a modern house is all updated, but it looks like a crappy job was done. People want to feel like the homeowners or the tenants that are currently there valued the home and took care of the home. It's no different when you buy a car. Even if something is an old Honda, old Kia, but the owner has all the service records and he vacuumed out the car and it's really clean, that is a car that you would still buy. But if it's a new car that you have and it rides really rough on it and it has like 90,000 or 150,000 miles on it, and it just came out this year and it rides really rough and they can't tell you anything about the car, you might not buy that car because you're not certain that the car is going to do what you need it to do. It's the same way for a house. People want to feel like you took care of the house. So if you have a bunch of holes in the wall, or the carpet is really dirty, there's trash everywhere, or I come show the house and there's dishes stacked up all the way on the countertop, this may be a huge turnoff for somebody. Also, uncut grass, that might be a huge turnoff for potential buyers. So keep that in mind. Sometimes it might not necessarily be on improvements, but just taking care of your house and just cleaning it and just keep the upkeep with the property is really going to pay off in the future. Well guys, that's the end of this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed it and you learned something. I hope this helped prepare you for potentially selling your home. If you have any questions or need help preparing your house to sell, feel free to contact me. My email is david.justice@foxrocks.com. Otherwise, good luck on selling your home.